devil's number one strategy to destroy women is men. Not because men are broken or not because men are evil. Men who never learned what they were built to carry is the devil's number one strategy to destroy women. Because an undisciplined man with access to a woman's heart does not need to be malicious to destroy her. He just needs to be careless. And a careless in the hands of someone with that kind of access is just enough for the devil to destroy women. Now let's talk about what she actually needs from a man. You see, what was built in her was not built to survive in spite of him. It was built to flourish alongside of him. And it only works if he becomes someone she can actually trust with what she carries. You see, God's design for man was never domination. It was responsibility. The weight of it was actually heavier than most men have ever been willing to sit with. Because responsibility without authority is a burden. But authority without love is tyranny. And the man who reaches for one without the other becomes exactly the kind of vessel the enemy needs to reach the woman beside him. And you see, God designed a man to be a covering, not a cage, but a covering. There's a difference. A covering says nothing harmful gets to her without going through me first. But a cage says you do not get to move without my permission. You see, one's protection while the other one is control. And the enemy has spent generations convincing men that they are the same thing, and they're not. And now I need the men to understand the weight he carries in her life. And so here's what most men don't fully understand about the woman beside them. Her sense of safety is not built on circumstances. It's built on him. A woman can be in difficult seasons, carrying real pressures, facing real uncertainty, and if the man beside her is steady, present, and trustworthy, she can hold it. Something in her settles when he is anchored. Something in her is freed to be fully herself when she is not spending energy wondering whether he is someone she can lean on. But when he is not steady, when his presence is unpredictable, when his words are careless or his actions are inconsistent, she can't settle. She can't fully open. She spends energy which she was never designed to spend just monitoring whether it is safe to trust him today. And a woman who cannot settle cannot flourish. She can function, she can manage, she can build walls strong enough to survive, but flourishing requires a kind of openness she will not give to a man who has not earned it, and she should not. If we look at Ephesians 5, it gives the man his assignment directly. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. And the way Christ loved the church was not through demand, it was through death. He laid down everything. He went into the hardest places so that others could be free. He washed his feet, he served, and he protected at the cost of himself. That is the model. Not soft, not passive, sacrificial. And we read in 1 Peter 3:7, names the consequences for the man who missed it. Treat her with respect as a fellow heir of the gracious gift of life, so that nothing will hinder your prayers. So that nothing will hinder your prayers. That way a man treats the woman beside him has the direct bearing of whether heaven responds when he speaks. This is not a footnote. This is a warning placed at the center of the design. And so let's go deeper into why the devil uses men to destroy women. Why and how an absent man becomes a weapon. You see, the enemy does not need a man to raise his hand to use him against a woman. He just needs him to leave. Not as always physically, but a man can be present in the same room and completely absent in every way that matters. Like absent in attention or absent in emotional honesty, absent in the kind of consistent sacrificial love that tells a woman she is seen and she is safe. And that absence does something to her over time that direct harm could not do as slowly or as thoroughly. It teaches her that she cannot trust. And not just him, but all men. Leadership, covering, the very thing God designed to give her security becomes the thing she has learned to survive without. And a woman who has been trained by a man's absence or carelessness to trust no one eventually stops opening up at all. She built something to protect what was not protected for her. And that structure, that wall, that self-sufficiency she had to construct just to survive follows her everywhere, into her next relationship, into her parenting, into her relationship with God, who she now can't fully trust because every man who was supposed to represent trustworthiness failed her. And the enemy does not destroy women directly. He destroys the men who were supposed to cover them and then steps back and watches what the absence creates. That is the strategy. Efficient, patient, devastating. And let's go even deeper. Let's talk about the words in her life. You see, a man's word to a woman he loves does not land like any ordinary words. They land like verdicts. You see, a woman carries what the man who is supposed to love her says about her in ways she can't even explain or can't always undo. Not because she is fragile, but because she was designed to receive something from him that nothing else in her life can replicate. His belief in her, his delight in her, his consistent communication through word and action that she is worth cherishing. When that is present, something in her is freed. She becomes more freely herself, more alive, more open. That Ezra operates at the full capacity when the man beside her has created the environment where it is safe to do so. When it's absent or replaced with the opposite, the damage is specific. And a man who uses his word to diminish her does not just hurt her feelings. He reaches to the part of her that was waiting to hear something different and confirms the lie that she was already afraid was true, that she is too much or not enough, a burden, or even a disappointment. You see, those words do not disappear when the conversation ends. They become the voice that she hears when she looks in the mirror, or when she's making a decision, when she's trying something that she's never even tried before, and when she's considered whether she is worthy of love. And when we read Proverbs 18:21, it says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and the man who speaks death into the woman beside him may never raise a hand." And when we read Proverbs 18:21, it says that death and life are in the power of the tongue, and that the man who speaks death into the woman beside him may never even raise a hand. He may never even intend harm, but intention does not determine impact. And the man who plants death in her with his words and then wonder why she is withering has not yet understood what he has given or what he did with it. And so let's break it down into the man who covers versus the man who consumes. You see, there's two kinds of men in a woman's life: the one who covers and the one who consumes. The man who covers asks, what does she need to flourish? He builds towards her becoming more fully herself. He leads through sacrifice. He creates safety through consistency. He tells the truth even when it's hard because he respects her enough to believe she can handle it. And he is not threatened by her strength. He does not need to diminish her to feel significant. He understands that her flourishing is inseparable from his own. But the man who consumes asks what she can give me. He takes what serves him and gives back only what is convenient. His love is conditional on her performance. His presence is contingent on what she produces. He drains the Ezra instead of receiving it. And because the Ezra is strong, she keeps giving long past the point where she should have stopped. Because that is what she is designed to do: give, strengthen, and rescue. But the tragedy is not that she gives too much. The tragedy is that the man beside her was never willing to become someone worthy of what she was offering. The man who covers does not become that overnight. It required that kind of death to self that Ephesians describes. The slow, daily choices to lead through love instead of leverage, to protect instead of control, to build her up in the moments it would be easier to tear down. But that man, the one who covers, does something the enemy can't replicate and can't overcome. He makes it safe for the Ezra to do what the Ezra was designed to do. And when the Ezra is fully operating in a covered environment, the household becomes something darkness cannot touch. And so now that we understand that, I want you also to understand that this message is not about guilt. You see, a man sitting in guilt about what he has not been is not useful to the woman beside him, to his children, or even to God. Guilt without repentance is just self-punishment dressed up as humility, and self-punishment changes nothing. This is a message about who you actually are before the failure, before the carelessness, before every way you fell short of what she needed or what God designed you to be. Before all of that, there is still a design, still a calling, still something God placed in you that the enemy has spent your entire life trying to make sure that you never fully walk into. You were built to cover, not control. Cover. To be the kind of man whose presence tells a woman beside him that she does not have to hold everything alone anymore. That someone is standing between her in what is coming. That her strength does not have to be a survival mechanism, because there is finally someone here who can be trusted with the weight she has been carrying by herself. That man is not a fantasy. He is not a standard invented to make you feel insufficient. He is the original design. He is what was in God's mind when he looked at the woman he had made her and placed her beside a man he expected to rise to the moment. The enemy targets the design precisely because he knows what it produces when the man actually walks in it. He cannot stop it, so he distorts it early. He teaches boys that strength is dominance, that vulnerability is weakness, that a real man takes and that the covering is not masculine, that the kind of love Ephesians describes is for someone softer than you. And some of you believed him for years, your entire life, and that is not who you are. And so I'm here to remind you that there's a version of you that a woman beside you has been waiting for. Not a perfect version, not a version that never fails or never struggles or always knows what to say. She's not waiting for a man without wounds. She's waiting for a man who refuses to let his wounds become a problem. A man who does the work, who chooses sacrifice over convenience, who leads through love instead of leverage, who makes her feel consistently and without condition that she is seen and she is safe. That man changes everything around him. He changes what she becomes. He changes what his children believes is possible. He changes what of God's image the people in his life get to see. He changes the story that gets passed down long after he is gone. And when we read Genesis 1:27, God created mankind in his image, male and female. He created them both together. The image is not carried by one. It is carried by both, or it is not carried fully at all. You are half of that image. The enemy knows what happens when you walk in that fully. He has been working against it your entire life. Every distortion, every wound that was never healed, every lie about what a man is supposed to be, all of it was upstream strategy designed to make sure you never became the covering you were built to be. Because the man who covers the woman beside him with sacrificial, consistent, death to self-love does not build a household. He becomes something the enemy cannot touch and cannot use. This is who you were made to be, not the weapon, the covering. And it is not too late to become him.